Chapter 4. Class, I will be assigning special buddies for this upcoming Tuesday's class trip, announced Mrs. P when we got back to the classroom. The best part about buddies is that we always get to choose our own. Elliot is always mine and I am always his. I knew how sad Elliot would be when he found out we would not be buddies this time. But before I could send him a note about it through my brain waves, Mrs. P was already saying, "Millicent will be Frannie's buddy." Millicent looked up and smiled at Mrs. P in a very official way, even though she secretly had a book on her lap and was not being official at all. I could see all of Elliot's hopes pour through his body and drip onto the floor in a big disappointment puddle. If Millicent was truly a special buddy, then maybe on Tuesday she would let me switch her for Elliot. Mrs. P said she wanted to tell us a very good and funny story. I love stories, and Mrs. P's are good because she tells us about what life was like in the olden times, when she was a kid. I leaned forward to make sure not to miss anything. That was the exact moment that Elliot gave a note to Sarah, who gave it to Aaron, who gave it to Elizabeth, who gave it to Sasha, who gave it to me. That was also the moment Millicent took her book back out and started reading again. I love getting notes in class, even though it is against the law. I opened it up on my lap so Mrs. Pellington wouldn't see. Elliot had drawn a picture of himself frowning. The word buddy was written on top, and under the drawing his own name was crossed out. It gave me a sad feeling. I had to be very careful about sending a note because if I got caught, Mrs. P might give me 2 special buddies. I drew a picture of myself and wrote, "Frankly, Bordy Miller," which is a joke about being bored and also about my middle name. Elliot is the only person who's not in my family who knows my middle name. Then Elliot sent another note, and I wrote him back again. Millicent squinched her face at me. She was getting the Frannie special buddy job confused with the Frannie's boss job. I looked right into Elliot's eyes and sent a note to his brain. It said, "We should probably pay attention now." I know he got it because we both turned to the front of the class to listen to Mrs. P. "The election has been moved from our school to the local theater," she said. I must have missed the end of her story because now she was talking about the election again. Chapter 5. On Monday night, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson came over for dinner. They are my parents' bestest friends in the world. I like them because they talk to me like I am a real-life person, which is not the way all grown-ups talk to kids. My mom let me wear her apron, and my dad stapled together scrap paper so I could be the waitress and write down everyone's order on a pad. I went around the table one by one, just like my favorite waitress Betsy does at Longfellow's. "May I take your order?" I asked Mr. Wilson. "I will have the prime rib rare, a pound of potatoes, a gravy boat, and yam soup." "That will be 1 chicken pot pie and salad coming right up," which was actually what we were having for dinner. "May I take your order?" I asked Mrs. Wilson. "I will have 13 slices of pizza, a frog leg sandwich in razzle-dazzle sauce, and asparagus lemonade. 1 chicken pot pie and salad coming right up." Then I sat down and watched my mom bring out the food that was too hot and too heavy for me to carry. When we were finished with dinner, my dad let me be the bus girl. I'm a very good table clearer. Everyone thinks so, and that is not an opinion. Over dessert, they talked about who our mayor would be. Even though politics are boring, I felt very grown up when they asked if I would vote for Frank Malloy. "Does Frank Malloy carry a briefcase?" I asked. "I think he does, yes," my dad answered. then he's the person I would vote for," I announced. "Because of the briefcase?" Mrs. Wilson asked. "Not only, also because both our names start with the same 4 letters, and because he carries a briefcase. Plus, he has a very good resume," my mom said. I looked up. Resume? That's a list of all the jobs and schools a person has worked at and attended. "You need one to get a job," said my mom. "What's one look like?" I asked. "I have some in my briefcase, actually," my dad said. "People applying to work at my office have sent me their resumes to look over. If you get me my briefcase, I'll show you one." Before he even finished the sentence, I had his briefcase on his lap. He popped it open, pulled out a small pile of papers, and handed me the one on top. I held it very carefully. I knew it was paper, but still, it was very professional paper, and I did not want to make a crease. Then I got a great idea. "Can I borrow this?" I asked. "If you're very careful," my dad said. I looked right into his eyes. "I will be very careful." "Then my answer is yes." After dinner, I sat at my desk and pulled out my nicest paper. If I brought my resume with me to the radio station visit, then certainly I could get a job. And if I brought business cards like the ones my dad has, they might want to give me a job even more. Business cards are for leaving your phone number and email address with other business people. If you have a card, then nobody has to go looking for a pen and paper. My dad once showed me how he brings them to meetings and leaves them on a table, all spread out like a fan. I found a very serious pen that did not have an eraser, and I looked at the resume from my dad in order to write mine. I carefully put down all of my jobs: table clearer, temperature taker, mustard sniffer. When I was done, I put it in my dad's old briefcase, which I found in the basement, along with some other workerish things like paper clips, a legal pad, an old cell phone, and an old pair of glasses with the lenses missing. And when I finished that, I cut up an empty Kleenex box and made business cards that said, "Mrs. Frankie B. Miller, radio show host, 914-555-1819. Mrs. Frankie B. at millers.com. I put those in my briefcase as well. I was so excited I almost couldn't fall asleep that night. I knew that if they liked my resume and business card at the radio station, there was a chance they'd give me a job.